This video is on solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Now I have 5x squared minus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0, and I need to use the quadratic formula to solve this, and I need to give my answers to two decimal places. So I'm going to start by writing the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now this works when I have my quadratic equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, so my quadratic equation is 5x squared minus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. So I'll just write that here. So 5x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Now I can see that my a is going to be 5, b is minus 3, and c is minus 4. Now so far, if this was an exam question, so far I haven't done enough to get any method marks. Now to get my method marks, I need to substitute these values into this formula and write that down. So to get method marks, I need to substitute these values into my formula and write it down. So I'm going to do that now, and where I'm substituting, I'm going to write my numbers in brackets. So for example, when I substitute here, I'm going to put in brackets minus 3, and when I'm substituting here for a, I'm going to put in brackets the 5. So let's write that down. So I have x is equal to minus, okay, b is minus 3, so I need to put that in brackets, plus minus square root of b squared, so b is minus 3, so minus 3 squared, minus 4 times a is 5, so I'll put that in brackets, and times c is minus 4, so I need to put that in brackets as well, and all over 2a, so 2 times 5, 2 times 5 in a bracket. Okay, so this is now worth some method marks. Now if your calculator displays fractions, you want to type into your calculator something that will look exactly like that. So in your calculator display, it needs to have this, but here you're going to use plus once, and then the second time you're going to use minus, or you could do it the other way around. But otherwise, everything else should look exactly as it is here. Now, if your calculator does not display fractions, this is what you're going to need to type in. So I'll write that here. So x. So I need x is equal to. Now I'm going to put brackets around the top of the fraction. So a bracket's going to go there, and a bracket's going to go there. So let's write that. So I'm going to start with the bracket, and then I have minus, and then in my bracket I have minus 3 plus minus. Now also what you might notice is you might get a square root like that, and it starts a bracket. Now that this bracket has started, I need to close this bracket when I come here. So I will need to close this bracket inside the square root. So let's do that. So in my square root I have bracket minus 3 squared minus 4 times, in a bracket I have 5, times minus 4, close bracket. Now that I've come to the end of my square root, I need to close this bracket that I started here. So let me close that. Now also I've come to the end of the top of my fraction. Now remember, I have a bracket here which was supposed to be there, and I need to close that bracket too. So I'm going to close that bracket now. And now I can write my divide sign, so divided by, and then start a bracket here, and then close that one there. So I'm going to start a bracket, and then I have 2 times, in a bracket I have 5, and then I'm going to close that bracket there. So if my calculator does not display fractions, this is what I would need to type in exactly as it is here. It's just here I'm going to use plus once and then I'm going to use minus the second time. Now I've already done this on a calculator. When I used the plus here or the plus there, the answer I got was, so x is equal to 1.243398113206, and that's all the numbers that my calculator displays. And when I used the negative, I had x is equal to, so what I mean by that is when I used the minus sign instead of the plus here and the minus sign instead of the plus here, my calculator gave the answer 0.643368113206. Now my question asked me to give my answer to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to round these to 2 decimal places. So this top one to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 1.24, and the second one to 2 decimal places is going to be 0. Sorry, this was a minus 0.643, so minus 0.64. So those are my 2 solutions. Now I have some questions here for you to try. So solve these equations using the quadratic formula. So use the quadratic formula to solve these equations here. Now, if there are no solutions to any of these, you must explain why this is the case. And here, for the second question, you need to write a quadratic equation that has no solutions and explain how you came up with your equation. So do these questions and then bring that to the lesson.